Andre's going to be live streaming it to, where did you say?
Sure.
Like YouTube, Twitch?
YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook.
Cool. Yeah.
Okay.
Let me do I can do a little post. Also, Kyle has the same exact setup I do if we want to get him in on this. I'll also down to do just a singler, but I just wanted to throw that out.
Andre, what do you think?
It's a very good question. Very good question. I find it personally for a nice little storytelling podcast, because basically the idea here is to just kind of get you to tell like the greatest story of all time. Right, and about how
No pressure.
No pressure, but that's why we're here. We're here to aid you along the storytelling path.
Cool.
You have a couple of really good storytellers here, so
let me expand upon that just a little bit.
Go ahead.
So the main point of the podcast, which is, again, this is obviously the first one we've done digitally. We're in a very different thing right now. But the point of the podcast usually is to really dig into like one musician's story. That's why it's called Unwritten. So we'll talk kind of about like your past, your present, and your future, all relating to Bitadat.
Okay.
But generally we find it easier to talk to one person, because then we really get like one viewpoint instead of a bunch of people trying to piece a story together.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also Kyle and I get really hyper and start talking over each other, so that's probably better in the end.
Hey,
yeah, but no, if you guys send a link, I can post it on our socials.
Let's
Oh yeah,
see.
I should do that too, actually, because Andre didn't tell me he was streaming this until about 5 minutes ago, so I didn't do that.
You know, this is art. This is art. We come in here, we improvise, and we do great
I'm into
stuff.
it.
Can you, Dan, if you can go to my Facebook and just kind of, I don't know, just send a link out if you can.
I don't actually know how to do that. Just
go to Facebook? What do you mean?
But no, I mean, what link is it?
FACEBOOK. That's the OM.
Is it just? But like, what is the live streaming link? Because they're not joining the meeting. I don't know how that works.
No. So if you go to Facebook, I'm doing a screen capture right now through OBS.
Oh,
open
you're
system.
already doing it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
it's being transmitted right now, and then you can grab the link, click share, copy, and then send it for wherever you need to send it.
Okay.
What's your Facebook?
Andre Psyche.
I'll send it to you, Cam.
Okay.
I mean, if the man wants my Facebook.
Yeah.
But it's
there you are.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. See, you spelled it.
Did you get it, Cam?
I found him.
Here's the link.
Oh, boom.
Sweet.
Oh,
yeah,
I can like hear us talking over us because I'm like watching this video. Okay.
Oh, it's so sweet.
Here, how do I? God, this confounded technology. Just kidding.
Nah.
All right. I just want to get this out of the way before we start.
I agree. I'm doing it as well.
It's already on my page, so I got it out of the way.
Andre, next time we can stream to Dan's tunes too.
Okay.
Oh.
That way I'll have to set up the broadcast system on your thing, so then it's connected to.
Yeah, like our pages. Yeah, our pages have to like each other. I did it with a live stream on Friday, with the work from home live stream on Friday. Mm-hmm. So I know it's possible, but for now we'll just do this.
Yeah. So right now the way it's streaming to Facebook and all that stuff is I'm using a third-party app that separates it out into to YouTube and Facebook and Twitch simultaneously.
Okay.
So we could do a video chat call. I can walk you through the whole thing so you can have it on your computer, and then we can just stream it that way, because it doesn't matter who streams it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll do that. That sounds like a good sample. We should record that. And that's my latest single.
And then before we dive right in as well, just to give you a little bit of an overview, Cam. So normally, like I said, we kind of just go into your story, kind of, just shoot the shit. But I do want to start today's with, something about coronavirus, because I think it would just make absolutely no sense if we didn't, especially since this is the first one that we're doing digitally. So we'll talk about that a little bit and just how it's affected you.
Sure.
And then we'll go into regular stuff.
Sounds good. And Andrew, I can't tag you in this post for some reason,
That's
so
okay.
I'm just doing dance tunes. Please forgive me.
How dare you, sir?
I know.
Dare you? I'm so hurt. I'm bleeding on the inside right now.
I'm bleeding on the outside too. That's
That's a lot. Whoa. Time of the month. I hear that.
Yeah, you know.
Oh gosh. Yeah,
Okay,
wow.
I'm just gonna do.
If dudes split out of their penises, that would
What kind of
be a
world
whole
would that
new.
be? Huh?
I know. I don't think you guys could handle it, honestly. It's pretty strange.
You don't know
Yeah,
what I can handle. I've cut my
it'd
finger
be
off and
just
I'm
like
still alive.
I have sisters. I don't want that. I don't want
Yeah,
any of that.
we don't want it either.
Yeah. Okay, great. All right, I just posted the link. Let me do one final ding dong here. It says that the page isn't active when I clicked on it. That's because we haven't started the stream yet, correct?
What page is inactive?
The link that so when I click on the link that Dan sent in the chat, it says this content isn't available.
Let me check my
Is that
Facebook
because?
real quick. Because it's streaming right now, so it should be good. But let me go to Facebook
Okay.
and check.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Is
Yeah.
it your personal page, Andre? Maybe it's not working because it's not like a business page. Is it just your personal Facebook?
I don't know, probably. But it should be open to the public. And if it's not, let me check the privacy setting right now. Down, 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 working out the kinks on the job.
Maybe I did the wrong link.
Thanks for sticking with us, Cam. This is new
Oh,
for us too. Yeah.
No. Totally all good.
Yes, it's private. That's why. Why did I do that? Everything is public that I do. Okay, so now it's public. Now everybody should have it.
Okay, sweet. Let me
Robbie
do a
Christmas
double
already
check.
liked it.
Okay, there we go.
Yay!
Did you
Cool.
share it to Dance Tunes? Let's see. I'll share it.
I did share it to Dance
Okay,
Tunes.
fantastic.
I'm gonna do our Insta story here, real fast. Sorry.
Join Campy live.
I'm gonna put it in the link in our bio in case people want to join.
Sweet.
Da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay.
Oh, and just as a heads up, I think these are usually about an hour. We don't really have a time limit on them, but I do have another call at 2. So if we're not done by then, I'll have to go then.
Yeah, I think we should definitely keep it to around an hour. I have an
hour.
competition.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
All right. So that's sent. Everything should be good. Hopefully.
Almost done. I'm almost done.
That's okay. No rush, Karen. No rush.
Ah!
You're being rushed now. Now there's a rush. Now there's a rush.
I should probably put it in the Dance Tunes Instagram too.
Boom. Okay. We are marketing experts.
We are.
If music teaches you anything, it's how to market yourself.
Right.
This is good though, you guys. I'm glad to see humans.
Right.
That's so
Like
true.
I live alone, so it's like.
You have cats. They're like humans. Cats are humans too. You're being
Yeah.
so racist right now, Dan. I just shared a post on my Facebook that says shut down
God.
any hate speech, and I'm shutting it down.
Okay. And almost done. And almost done.
You guys have nice microphones. I need a headset. My headset's just it's literally just horrible. I try to do some gaming and I'll plug it in. I can hear them and my microphone. I don't think there's an amp in it or anything. It's almost silent. It's almost silent. Nobody can hear me.
Well, you definitely sound the nicest out of all of us here.
Well, because I'm using my recording microphone for this. This is a what's it called? It's a microphone by Trumpet Ears. I don't know if you've heard of them from Oregon. Yeah, really amazing for acoustic, for performances. But yeah, Trumpet Ears, handcrafted in Portland, Oregon by a bunch of small, awesome humans. I mean, I don't know if they're
That's
small,
cool.
but they're definitely
I
humans.
don't know if the humans are
No.
small.
But yeah, it's
Okay.
really nice.
Okay.
Cool.
We're good.
Sweet.
Oh, so cool. All right, so let's dive into the Rona. Let's talk about the Rona. We know it's real.
Should we do like an intro? You're Andre Psyche.
All
I'm
right,
Dan.
fine. God, see, look, micromanagement. She's such a boss. Gosh,
Oh, I know. Sorry.
that's okay. I'm joking. I love you.
There you go.
Welcome everybody to Unwritten. This is a new podcast, the Rona edition, the quarantine edition, if I should say it. And we have our beautiful guest, Cameron from Bitadat, and the conceiver of dance tunes and the podcast, Dan Ray herself. Everybody give her a hand. Clap, 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 clap.
Hooray! Hooray!
Hurrah!
Hello.
Awesome. Welcome to this podcast. We're so happy to have you and see some nice human interaction and human faces. I'm sure we're all craving it. A lot of us are extroverts in the music industry, but at the same time, I don't know. Maybe Cameron, are you an extrovert, and ambivert, introvert?
Yeah, I'd say I'm more outgoing, but I have to admit, you know, in a way, am somewhat thriving in this lockdown. Um, you know, one benefit of being a creative person is when you are on lockdown, you have no choice but to make new stuff. So hopefully, I expect that. I expect that by the time the end of the summer comes around, we're going to be seeing a lot of new content from everybody.
Perfect. Perfect. I completely agree. And
Hmm.
a sign of a great artist is adapting to change. I mean, that's evolution.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
if we're here, we're adapting, we're living, we're thriving.
Exactly.
So
I'm ready to evolve. Bring it on.
yes, evolution. Oh, you're already flashing a little bit. I think you're going into your next Pokemon reference.
Yep. There you go. Yeah.
Thanks,
I'm with
Dan.
you.
Thanks, Dan.
I'm digivolving.
Digimon. Oh, Digimon.
I'm more of a Digimon guy. I have to
Oh,
admit.
I
Mm,
love
Oh
Digimon.
no! Oh, the disapproving groan. Oh, just
It's
kidding.
it's okay. I can drop her from the call like that.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't even really know what Digimon is, so I
Uh,
can't.
It's
I'm
that's
just,
so
okay.
sorry.
I mean, we can spend a minute on this. It's Pokemon, but with like
It's
dinosaurs.
yeah, it's the
Oh, even
Pokemon
better.
knockoff. Yeah,
Okay.
they stole it, but I
Great.
like it.
Yeah, it's still
My
amazing.
favorite Pokemon is Weedle because it's ridiculous. So
Yeah.
that's where I'm at.
Weedle. Oh, that's so awesome. Yeah, so let's get really quickly into it and just talk about the current environmental situation that we're facing, the Rona, all around the outside world. How has it affected you? Your music, your creativity. Just how has it affected you, especially financially? How's it
Hmm.
affected you as a musician?
That's a great question, and uh, I think I can speak for pretty much any artist in Seattle where the majority of like the money you make has to do with gigs and selling merchant gigs. So when you're not doing that, you're not making any money. Some people who gig around the city, they gig every night,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
like our drummer Remy, he's gigging pretty much every single night. And so, I mean, everyone's got their side hustle, but when that becomes like an expected income for you every month and that just goes away, it's difficult. I'm really fortunate that I'm able to, my side hustle, I'm able to work from home.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm fine financially. It's just um, as you guys are probably aware, we just released a new album on March 6th, and then starting on March 7th, we launched a 12-day tour starting in Seattle, going to Portland, going down the West Coast, going into Mexico, coming up into the Pacific North or the inland Northwest, inland Central U.S., and then ending in Boise for Tree Fort Festival.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up having to cancel it due to the virus. So all of this money that we invested into promotion,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm,
tons of money, just gone. And it's really unfortunate because we're not getting that back. All
Mm-hmm.
the money that, not only the money we invested in promotion, but the money that we invested in merchandise that
Mm-hmm.
we were expecting to sell on the tour.
mm,
Mm-hmm.
That when you're gone for 14 days, you're expecting to sell X amount of
Mm-hmm.
product each show. So you buy that product, and then now it's just sitting in our living room, which I mean, it's fine. Like we'll get rid of it. Um, it's just a matter of like keeping things relevant once uh, things kind of return to normal. So we'll see what happens. I'm an optimistic person, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
thankful that uh, all things considered, I'm doing well financially, and
Mm-hmm.
the people I care about are safe. And really, that's all that matters in the end. And when you talk about art in general, all that really matters is that you're creating it.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as everyone in the community is continuing to do that, regardless of the financial struggle and the mental health struggle, really,
Mm-hmm.
like I think everything will work out.
I completely agree, and that's a very beautiful answer. You might have lost out on a lot of financial, means, but you've maintained your gratitude and you maintain your positivity, and you're very, um, beautiful
You're
spirit.
beautiful too, man.
Thanks, man. Oh,
Feeling all the love.
Yeah,
oh,
exactly.
that's why we're here. Love is all we can
Hmm.
do. And
Hmm.
hopefully, like since you have all this merchandise, I'm sure you have a website, and we'll link all that stuff. So maybe the listeners will go in there and want to support you and buy some of your merchandise from you.
Yeah, absolutely. We did just launch a website about 3 weeks ago, and we launched an online store so you can buy the entire bit of that catalog digitally. We have a few actual like tangible products. We sell our albums on USB cards
Oh,
instead of
nice.
traditional CDs. So, oh, I should have one up here so I can show.
I will
I'll
say
get one
too,
later.
I did buy a shirt at your release show, and it is very soft, and it has a cat on it. So I am very pleased with it.
Thank you. Thank you. Fabric is so important with t-shirts
Agreed.
for
It
us.
is.
So like
Yeah.
if you're gonna sell any sort of band merch and the t-shirt isn't if like the fabric of the
Hmm.
t-shirt isn't good, then you shouldn't even bother selling it. And
Hmm.
really like, when you're even with your content, even with like music as an artist or even if you're painting, like the goal should be to create the best product you can.
Hmm.
Yes.
So if it's not something that you would wear, if it's not something
Hmm.
that you would feel comfortable wearing, like don't waste your time. Like it's
Hmm.
better just to either buy smaller amounts so that it's cheaper, or save
Hmm.
and get something that's soft.
Hmm.
And we love cats.
Oh, we
Cats are the
love
Same.
best.
cats. Cats are the best. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
Cats bring the world
everyone at
together.
Dance Tunes loves cats.
Oh,
I don't think you can work for Dance Tunes if you don't like cats.
oh,
Yeah, exactly.
oh.
Can't be interviewed by Dance Tunes if you don't like cats. Everybody's gotta like cats.
Hmm. Hmm. I used to hate cats. I'm not gonna lie. I used to hate cats, and then I met my partner's cat, and he was amazing and
Mm,
totally changed my perspective on kitty cats. And
Mm,
so now I love them.
that is
Now
a
I know how to talk to them. There's still
yes.
yeah.
yeah. You have to become one with the cat.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes. All right, I'd love to get into cats. Honestly, I love talking about cats.
Yeah.
But let's talk about you, Cameron. Let's talk about you.
Okay. Cool.
So, I would like to start our story in the beginning, obviously. And if you want to start at birth, that's fine. I'd love to. I'd love to hear of your conception, even. You can talk about your
Sure.
Oh
parents
my
if you
god.
want. Go as
Ugh,
far back
ugh.
as you'd like. But I wanna know how you got to how you found music, or how music found you, as it did
Hmm.
in my experience.
Hmm.
Feel free.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Thank you. That's a great question. I'm very lucky. Both of my parents are music educators, so when I was born, I kind of didn't really have a choice but to go into music. Not that I would want one,
Mhm.
and I did have one. Like certainly, my parents wouldn't have forced me to do music if I truly didn't want to. But music is such a human thing.
Mhm.
It's a part of literally every culture on the planet. How many times have you heard someone say, "I don't like music," and mean it in a non-sarcastic way? So I was very fortunate to, kind of be immediately put in a hyper musical environment. My
Mm.
first performance in front of an audience was when I was two.
Wow. Wow.
I was super, yeah. It was an interesting time, and uh,
What was the performance?
it was just in front of my church at the time,
Mhm.
and uh, I don't remember the song. It was like this little light of mine or something like that.
Oh,
Okay.
Something cute.
cute.
Sweet.
You know,
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah. And like a lot of artists these days, kind of grow up doing music in school, doing music in the church, and that's definitely how I got started as well. I don't really, I'm not really going to church much these days, and so I'm not really participating in that. Uh, and I'm out of school now, so I'm not really participating in that. But pretty much ever since I've been able to participate in
Mhm.
like extracurricular musical activities, I've been doing
Mhm.
that. My mother's piano teacher. My father, is choir teacher in my hometown, which is in Sandpoint, Idaho, and they both teach there and still
Mhm.
do.
Mhm.
Right now, not so much because it's hard to teach
Oh yeah.
music remotely.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you know,
It's true. It's true.
yeah.
So even though you were in a musically heavy environment, I guess, what was it
Hmm.
that really sold you on it? Like, because I know we become what our environment kind of fosters us to
Hmm.
become, but what was it that really just grabbed your attention?
Um, that's a really great question. Honestly, I suppose I didn't really get um, really involved in like the creation and like a more artistic process. It was
Mm-hmm.
more just like
Mm-hmm.
learn, like how you would expect, any parent to like make their child go to violin lessons or go
Mm-hmm.
to piano lessons because it's good for you, it's good for your brain.
Mm-hmm.
So that's kind of like how it was the beginning part of childhood. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I got into high school was when I started to learn more instruments, that interested me.
Mm-hmm.
Things that like, I was like, oh, okay, now I want to learn this instrument. Now I want to learn this instrument. I started listening to more artists, and
Mm-hmm.
honestly, it's funny. Like the artist that really inspired me to begin songwriting because when I was younger, I only listened to like, you know, inspirational music.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was younger and I loved God a lot, so
Mm-hmm.
I was listening to a lot of church music
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of Weird Al because it was clean, you
Nice.
know.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I love Weird Al. So does
Who
Kyle.
doesn't love Weird
Yeah,
Al?
seriously, he's an American treasure. He really is.
Totally.
Um, but then I started listening to the Foo Fighters a lot,
Mm.
and that's really what kind of like sparked like oh my God, there's so much more music out there. I need to start listening to this now. And
Mm-hmm.
that was like sixth, seventh grade,
Mm-hmm.
and then once once I went through the entire Foo Fighters catalog, all of Nirvana, all of like the grunge era artists, and then I started getting into uh, I've always kind of been also be through schooling, also been into like jazz and classical, but then after like going through grunge stuff, I went through classic rock, went through a big classic rock phase, and then I went through a big progressive metal phase, and then I went through a huge electronic and pop music
Mm.
phase. And now these days I'm kind of like settling into, oh, and then after that I went through a big indie pop phase and just indie rock and roll. And then now I'm more kind of into like funk and electro,
Mm-hmm.
um, soul
Mm.
music too.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
combination of basically all of it, kind of.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Well, I mean, I feel like that's how it works with most people.
Mm-hmm.
They go through phases where they listen to either one artist or one
Mm-hmm.
genre of music over and over and over again,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that that's super healthy. Like it's good to be well-rounded, but there's nothing more satisfying than nerding out on one thing, getting
Mm-hmm.
really, really like solid and getting, just
Mm-hmm.
for yourself, like an understanding about a certain genre. Like
Mm-hmm.
2 years ago, I started getting super deep into like 50s and 60s calypso music
Oof.
from Trinidad. And so like I have a playlist on Spotify where it's just all of my favorite classic calypso tunes, and it's awesome. And honestly, it's really great for a time like this where you're stuck inside. You
Mm-hmm.
can have like a fake tropical house party
Mm-hmm.
if you want to. It's like island vibes, like make some, margaritas, some blended
Oh,
margaritas and listen to some calypso.
that
It'll
sounds
make you feel good.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yeah.
Make sure to send that link. We'll include that in the
Yeah.
description for people. I'm
Okay.
sure they'd enjoy it as much as I think
Yes.
I'm going to enjoy it.
It's really
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
I'll find that. I'll pull that up. Pull
I
that
So,
up,
think
Jamie.
Yeah, right. Jamie, get it done right now.
Jamie, pull it up.
That's so funny. That's so funny. So this is, I mean, this is a great journey, and I mean, I think a lot of us connect to just to the love of music and to just music being an expression of life. I mean, I have a tattoo that says music is life,
Hmm.
because it really is. It's a reflection of everything that goes around us. But what was it that really got you to cross that barrier between just being a listener and being a even a creator and just like learning? But
Hmm.
what made you take that step from doing it for yourself and then doing it professionally and sharing it with the world and becoming like like David Grohl, just kind of go that to the next level? That makes
Hmm.
sense.
we call him David Grohl. I love that.
David.
David.
I like that too.
David, very fancy.
David.
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 Somebody get David on the phone.
Yeah.
You guys don't know him like I do, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. That's hilarious. Yeah, that's a tough one too because like I'm very fortunate to have the upbringing that I have,
Mhm.
and because it's been such a huge part of my life, like literally my entire family is
Mhm.
musical. My entire family works in the industry. I guess they're educators, so it's not technically the same industry, but you know, they're both alumni from music school. Like it's hard to identify a particular point in time where I was like, you know what, this is what I want to do
Mhm.
for my life because it already was
Mhm.
pretty much ever since I was a child,
Mhm.
and it wasn't really so much of a question of like, is this something that I'm going to do when I'm
Mhm.
older, when I'm an adult? It's kind of more just like, how am I going to do it?
Mhm.
Am I going to be, am I going to go to, um, am I going to go to university and get a degree in performance? Am I going to go to
Mhm.
university and get a degree in composition? Am I going to go to a production school and do something a little bit different? Which is what I ended up deciding to do, kind of trying to
Mhm.
break the mold of our family,
Mhm.
do something a little bit different than what they did. Which, looking back, we all have our regrets. I'm not sure if that's what I should have done. But, you know, what instruments do I want to,
Mhm.
master? And so though there wasn't really a defining pointing time where I was like, I want to do music as a profession. It was more just like, what aspect of
Mhm.
this type of artistic anomaly of human nature do I want to
Mhm.
be involved in?
Ah,
Um, and I guess I still haven't really decided.
that's okay. I mean, we got a whole life to decide. Like you said, we
Exactly.
have a little bit of focus here for a couple of years, and then we
Hmm.
move our focus elsewhere for a couple of years, and then we create
Exactly.
something that's a hybrid, and then we go off and do something else.
Yeah.
We're not static people. We always grow. We always move.
Exactly. Exactly. Hopefully that's what we do.
I mean, we
So
we either grow or we die. So right now we're alive, so we're growing.
there it is.
Yeah. So what was it about the production aspect that really that captured your interest in this aspect? Was it just like knowing all the instruments and just trying to put them together?
I love that question because a lot of it is just my teen rebellion,
Mm.
when I was, like growing up, and you think like your parents want you to do this, and by the way, I love my parents. I have a great relationship with my parents. My parents are amazing people. It's just, we're young and you want to be different. You want to stick it to the man, your parents don't understand. Everyone goes through that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, even though I never really had that sort of relationship with my parents back then, still like I was encouraged to go to the same university that they did, into the same music program, and I had already been through some aspects of that program in high school, just through competitions and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like when I applied, I was welcomed. Let's put it that way. I got a scholarship to that school and passed it down basically just because I wanted to do something different than my folks. And I not sure that was the right choice to make
Why do you say that?
because just because when you're that young, you don't really and when you're young and idealistic, you don't really consider finances as
Mm-hmm.
you would maybe today.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I could have I could have a significantly lot less debt than I do now,
Mm-hmm.
and I would probably be in a totally different place, butterfly
Mm-hmm.
effect stuff. But
True. True. True.
really, it's not really worth dwelling on. I like to talk about it because I want to uh, encourage uh, youth to not make rash decisions, but they should
Mm-hmm.
still follow their heart.
Mm-hmm.
They should still do things that they don't regret,
Mm-hmm.
but um, that they won't regret later on. But like honestly, you don't need to go to a super mega awesome expensive school,
That's true.
uh, especially for something with art,
Mm-hmm.
because it's like there's so many artists out there, and really you could do it like from your home. You
Mm-hmm.
don't need to even go to school
Mm-hmm.
to do art, if you have the right resources and you have the right, connections there. So,
Well, I think it's all about desire too in that case, because
hmm
I went to University of Washington for biology, and for that, if somebody wants to go be a doctor, like yeah, go to school, go do that because that's the best place for it. But music,
yep,
art, painting, all that stuff, if as long as you have a desire and a willingness and time to explore that, it all comes to you.
hmm
Go on Google, look up all some people that you like, and then see
hmm
what is it that makes them stand out. What is it that I like about them? Can I do
hmm
that? And it's all about copying in a sense.
yeah,
What did was it Dali? Was it Vincent Van Gogh that said this? But good artists copy, great artists steal.
hmm
So if you can understand the patterns that they're doing, you can take that pattern and apply your own filter on it, and boom, now you're doing the same thing except differently. It's still
hmm
your own, but now it still comes into the I don't know the greatness that everybody else provides. So I completely agree. It's like if you
Hmm.
want to do this, just go do this. And then
Hmm.
if you find yourself in a place where a school might help you, great, go do that. Otherwise,
Yeah.
just go fucking do it. Live your
Yeah.
life. You know,
Exactly. The
create.
hard, yeah, exactly. And the hardest part about all that too is like is the discipline behind it,
Mm-hmm.
which is why university can be so helpful because I feel like a lot of people, especially our age, uh, need some sort of like maybe not everyone, I'm probably generalizing here, but at least for me, having some sort of financial motivator to discipline myself into learning a craft,
Mm-hmm.
helps because, you know, I say that, for instance, during this quarantine, I'm doing a lot of creating and getting a lot of stuff done online, but really, I've also been eating a lot of junk food and playing a lot of video games. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, like, as long as you can be disciplined, then you don't necessarily need to go to university. But some
Mm-hmm.
people need that in order to be disciplined, And really, if you want to be good at anything, um,
Mm-hmm.
other than just going out and doing it, you have to discipline yourself in that.
I
It just depends on how good you want to be.
I completely agree, and I think we all want to be the best, or
Hmm.
going back to the Pokemon, to be the best, you got to pass the test. You
Okay.
got to take. Oh wait,
Exactly.
that's not Pokemon. That's Tenacious D.
That's
That's Tenacious D.
uh,
To be the best, you gotta pass the test. You gotta take it
that's
all the
Oh
way
right.
my
to the top of the
god.
mountain.
Oh my
You're the
god.
best in the
Oh my
world.
god. Do you think they stole that from Pokemon though?
Yeah, I thought those Pokemon for some reason. I don't know why.
Well,
It kind of
Pokemon
sounds
is
like
you're gonna be
Pokemon,
the very best.
Oh yeah, that's right.
like,
Yeah,
like
like
no one ever was.
yeah, like no one
Yes,
ever
yes.
was.
My brain
To
got
catch them
switched.
all is my real test. To train
Yes,
them is my cause.
there
We
you
know.
go. There
There
you
you
go.
go.
We're
I
on
We
actually
there.
didn't
know.
know more of the words, so thank you for filling in.
Pokemon.
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 Oh.
Do you know Pokemon is
Pokemon.
short for Pocket Monster?
I did know that. I had some of the original playing cards before they were like Americanized, and they had the actual Pocket Monster on like the back of
Oh
the card.
wow.
Yeah,
Very hidden, Cam.
I am so cool, you guys.
You are the coolest. Did you have Digimon cards? Did they have Digimon cards?
Oh hell yeah, bro! I had Digimon cards. I had way more Digimon cards than I did Pokemon cards, dude. I have to admit, I like Digimon way more. I'm gonna get a lot of hate for that, but
I don't know. No, you're just refining your niche, your market.
yeah.
You're gonna
Well, I
connect to
mean,
those people.
I recognize that Digimon totally copied Pokemon,
Who
but
cares? Again,
I,
you're
I
stealing,
don't give
right?
a shit.
Good
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
exactly.
great
artists
art.
copy, great art steal. They
Yeah.
stole and then they made a beautiful story by themselves.
What we're learning is that every bit of that album is inspired by Digimon.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly. How do you? It's yeah, exactly. There's one song in there that has some sort of subliminal message about Digimon.
That's funny. I wish I could remember their names. Yeah, I was more of a Yu-Gi-Oh card collector. I did Yu-Gi-Oh
Oh,
all day, every day.
yeah. I,
Never.
I fucked with Yu-Gi-Oh a little bit. I had like I had three decks actually. I built three
Ooh.
decks. I never found anyone to play with me.
Oh,
So
I'd play with you, Cameron.
thanks,
I'd play
dog.
with you. Yeah.
Thank you, dude. I
When
appreciate
quarantine
that.
is over, Yu-Gi-Oh days.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
Yu-Gi-Oh!
I
Day.
don't
Yeah,
have any cards anymore, but I mean, I'm
me
sure we could get
neither.
like a PlayStation or something.
You could probably get like a few decks for like 5 cents on
True.
Facebook Marketplace or something like that. So
I don't know. I think I mean, they're probably more expensive these days too. Like Exodia, Dark Magician. They're probably like
oh,
$20, $30 a pop nowadays.
you're probably right.
Yeah.
We could just hop. We could grow up and be adults and just play Magic the Gathering instead
Hey,
too. I've
Heck
always wanted to play that.
yeah.
I did that for a good
Yeah.
I
three
love
months,
Magic.
right? It was
Hmm.
awesome, but I got into a tournament, a competition, and
Hmm.
people take it really seriously. Like
They take it super
they
seriously. Yeah.
bust out like a freaking suitcase, and then they make like their deck on the spot, and then I die in like 3 seconds. So I realized at that moment, if I want to do this, I need to do it seriously, and I don't want to do that. I'd rather make
Discipline.
music. Yeah,
Yeah.
discipline.
You got
Exactly.
discipline,
Yeah.
dude.
It's all
Yeah.
back to the discipline.
Have you guys seen that post of the guy who went to the Magic the Gathering tour and did like the pose in front of all of the butt cracks from all the different players?
Oh.
Oh my God, it's so fucking funny. It's this guy who went around a Magic the Gathering tour and like would hunker down like behind people playing Magic the Gathering, and he would get their plumbers cracks, and it's like 30 pictures.
Oh my
It's
god.
hilarious. Just Google that.
We'll put that in
But
the link or
Yeah,
in the
we'll put that in
description
the
yeah.
link
too.
too. We'll put that in the
Yeah.
link. Jamie.
Oh, I
Yeah.
put the Calypso playlist in the chat here, by the way.
I noticed.
Uh,
it pops
Yeah,
up. I was like, yeah,
that's a
nice.
goodie.
Look at that. Look at that.
Tropical
All right,
vibes.
all right. Well, maybe we should talk about your current album, self-titled Bit of Dat.
Okay. Yeah.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. Okay, sure. Well, we just released our I guess what would you call it? Fifth multi-song release. I
Yeah,
don't I try not to
second
use
full
the
length.
word album yeah, exactly. I try not to use language like EP or album, though I do anyway because it's what people are used to.
Hmm.
Because there's like you can speculate on what qualifies it as an album or
Hmm.
as an EP. But yeah, we just released a new album on on March 6th. It's available on all streaming digital media platforms.
Hmm.
You can also download a digital copy on bitadat.com, or you can purchase a USB card with the album on it. So you get a few different things. You get MP3s, so you can play it in a USB player in your car. You just plug it into your car and it'll play. And then we also have high quality WAV files if you want like the full res. We also have a digital art booklet with all the lyrics and track and credits and
Those
all
are
that
very nice.
stuff.
That is
So,
very nice.
but that is exclusive on the USB card. If you buy it anywhere else online, it's going to be MP3. So if you want the high fidelity audio, definitely buy the USB card. And if you want the lyrics and the art book, which I totally recommend, it's really awesome. Our designer Chandler Bargreen is a super talented guy and really crushed this
Hmm.
one. So it's pretty.
So, how did you get into? I mean, Bitadat. First of all, how did that name come to be, and who are the other members of it, and how did you find them? Where did you find them?
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a great question. So bit of that as a name, um, it was originally my old gamer tag from high school,
Nice.
and it came from like a song called "The Auctioneer."
Hmm.
Uh, it's a country song that we did in choir in high school,
Hmm.
and one of my friends, his name's Jacob Craner. He's actually mixed a lot of bit of that stuff. Uh, he's a voiceover artist in LA now, but we were joking around because it's like the lyrics are $25 bit of dollar. So who would have bid that? Who would have bid that? And then we just started making it all stupid, like who would have bid a dat? Who would have bid a dat? And so that was my gamer tag. It was just in my head from that day when I was
Hmm.
creating it, and so that just became like a any sort of like unique ID that I needed to identify myself online with.
Hmm.
That became it,
Hmm.
and then um, I moved to Seattle in 2012 or 13, um, and convinced my sister and lifelong buddy Kyle
Hmm.
to move out here with me and start a band.
Nice.
Um, and at the time, so some history there. Obviously, my sister and I have been doing music together
Hmm.
since we were born.
Ah.
And she is on our first album, the 2015 release, Ragtag Rhythm. She's the female vocalist on that. And Kyle and I met in band in high school. Well, we actually met in junior high in band, but then we didn't start playing together until like 2010,
Hmm.
2009, 2008 or 2009, and then we started a progressive metal band in high school.
Oh, bro, yeah,
Yeah, it's
nice.
super rad. Yeah, there's some recordings. There's some old recordings of us online as well. It's pretty fun. Very Tool sounding.
I'm gonna find
Yeah,
that.
yeah. Absolutely. Check it out. I'll send it to you guys if you want.
Please.
Yeah.
We probably won't make it public online, but
It's okay.
I'll send it to you guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's funny stuff. And then he went to University of Idaho. I went to Seattle and went to school at the Art Institute,
Mhm.
and then met a mutual friend, Cody Carr, at school, and he was our drummer at the time. And so convinced Bailey and Kyle to move into Seattle, and so we all got a house together. This house here, we've been here since 2013. We've been here a long time, in White Center, and then we started making music. It was us four: me, Kyle, Cody, and Bailey. And then after that release, we started playing with Remy Morit, who is now our current drummer. Bailey had other musical endeavors she wanted to pursue in LA, so she left as well. And um, it's been us three ever since.
Hmm.
Um, yeah,
Wow, that's amazing. That's beautiful. I
it's a
and
good story.
especially playing with a family member, with a sister.
Hmm.
That's such a, like, for me, just like a romantic idea, just like playing with family to express, I don't know, your own stories, because you kind of have
Hmm.
um
Yeah, it
you know,
blends.
it blends, yeah.
Similar upbringings.
Yeah, similar
Yeah.
upbringings, but then to see that expression just kind of come out in its own way, and it sounds so
Hmm.
beautiful. Like, I have a sister, and she's 12 years old right now, and she's getting into music, flute, little
Hmm.
ukulele, and I keep telling her, I was like, keep doing this, because I mean, when you're 18, when you're 20, like I already got a lot of things going on. You can join this, and
Yeah.
I just want to do this with you. And I don't know, like right now, she's not about that at all. I mean, she's 12,
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
hopefully, as
One
she
day.
grows older,
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You're never too young or too old to learn something. That's for sure.
That's true. Unless you're dead. Again, back to the either you're dead or you grow.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
jumping back to what you said a little bit about like the album. Can you tell me first what you personally consider to be an album, and and then go into detail about your multi-tracked song release, and what
Hmm.
was the thought process behind, I don't know, maybe the story of the whole thing, or just maybe individual songs.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a great question. So, if you like Google w what qualifies an album,
Hmm.
you're gonna get tons of different answers. And I think a lot of a lot of the change and a lot of the moneyness has to do with like um, music moving to a digital medium.
Hmm.
Because it used to be like an album was what would fit on an LP.
Hmm.
It would be side A, side B, that's an album,
Hmm.
which today is only 8 songs in some cases,
Hmm.
you know. So to me, I wouldn't necessarily consider 8 songs to be an album, but it also kind of is an album
Hmm.
because it fits on one LP. And depending on how long each song is, there are some definitions out there that say, well, a full-length album has to be 35 minutes. Oh, a full-length album has to be at least 45 minutes.
Hmm.
It's just stuff like that. Um, and also, uh, while I really value um, the experience of sitting down with an album and listening to it start to finish,
Hmm.
the way that the industry is moving right now, and the attention spans of
Hmm.
the people who are consuming the product being music is,
Singles.
yeah, exactly. It's singles and EP releases, and those
Hmm.
are getting the highest play counts.
Hmm.
That or the first track of an album, which, does play a huge part in how we structure our multi-song releases.
Hmm.
Um, we try to put our what we feel like will be the most popular songs first,
Hmm.
and then the least popular songs last, which
Hmm.
is terrible. It's terrible because uh, I
Like,
don't want to. I don't want to like out. Like
uh,
don't listen to the last songs of the album. But it's just because like when someone's listening to it,
hmm.
they're gonna listen to like the first 3 or 4 songs,
Hmm.
and then they're gonna move on to the next project. So you
Hmm.
want to put your most powerful pieces at the beginning,
Hmm.
or just release smaller projects. And so we have been really focusing on EP and single releases for the last
Hmm.
really like the last 5 years,
Hmm.
um, and finally decided like shit, we should probably do a legit full length album and
Hmm.
get a really good product, something that is better than we've ever done,
Hmm.
something that we will consider pressing to vinyl, which we'll probably do that
Hmm.
later on this year.
Hmm.
So keep your eyes peeled for that. Um, and then also considering that we're putting more time and energy into this, though we do kind of take into consideration like how we order the songs. Since we do want to press it to vinyl,
Hmm.
we changed how we order the songs from first to last.
Hmm.
So instead of doing it, how does it play through first song to last song? Is
Hmm.
how does it play through side A to end of side A? How does
Hmm.
it play through side B to side B?
Hmm.
And so the way we've structured this album is side A is kind of like the soul, like kind of like the soulful, funky
Hmm.
side, a little bit more light, playful, and then side B is the more aggressive alternative rock
Ooh,
um, type vibe.
nice.
Uh, yeah,
The Rat City vibe.
Nice.
yeah, exactly, exactly.
It's a,
Represent.
Very yin and yang too. You have one side just like,
Yeah,
we can say light, the other side more, dark a little bit, just a little
yeah,
grungy.
exactly. Which I love that too
Mm-hmm.
because it really does kind of capture the whole vibe and message of the album itself.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would say, like about 50% of the songs are just like escapism, you know, uh, spreading a message of like you don't need an excuse to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
Just have a good time, have fun, and really that's what we want for people who come to our shows. We don't want to share any sort of like political agenda. We
Mm-hmm.
just want people to come and forget all of like the normal shit. Just have fun, which I think is missing in a lot of music today. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of, and this is, I mean, and a lot of it is for a good cause, but I think at some point you have to take a step back and just be like, all right, are we here for the music? Are we here to advance a ideology or agenda? You know what I'm saying? And I think people kind of lose sight of the art in
Mm-hmm.
that respect. And also doesn't make it as accessible to everyone, and really that's what music should be about, is bringing the community together. And
Mm-hmm.
if you exclude people because they don't subscribe to a certain idea that fits your band image, or even a song's meaning,
Mm-hmm.
then you're kind of, in my opinion, this is just my opinion, you're
Mm-hmm.
losing the whole idea of what music is for, and it's
Mm-hmm.
about bringing your community together.
Mm-hmm.
And then, so anyways, half the songs are about positivity
Mm-hmm.
and escapism, and you don't need an excuse to be happy. And then the other
Mm-hmm.
half is about dealing with basically growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Because, right now, Kyle and I, and Remy's in his mid 20s, me and Kyle are in our late 20s.
Mm-hmm.
We're kind of departing from our childhood phase, and it's really weird.
Mm-hmm.
It's really weird stuff. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like this is that time in every artist's life when they like, think about too, like all of the artists that are big all have an album like this where they talk about, you know,
Mm-hmm.
departing from childhood and what that's like. But really, what I wanted the messages of those songs to be is like, hey, you know, even though it's really weird, it doesn't have to be a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, in some cases, you need bad things in order for good things to be good. So it talks about that a lot. And it talks about how you can cope with change and not go insane.
Mm-hmm. God, that's such a beautiful answer. Very beautiful
We
answer.
we need that right now too. Coping
Hmm.
with change without going insane.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Most
Yep.
Very
definitely.
pertinent right now.
Yep. Absolutely. Yeah. I feel like it's, that's why that Calypso playlist would be great for now, but also the bit of that album would be
Mm-hmm.
great for right now. That first track is called Fall Out of Focus, and it's literally just about, it acknowledges all of the shitty stuff that everyone experiences, and then it just says, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I love
That's
that.
literally it. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter. Just forget about it and have fun. Feel good. That's silly. Silly stuff.
What's your favorite song in the album? If
Oh, that's a tough one. I'm biased because I
Of
like them
course,
all.
of course. I
Yeah.
mean, they're your children.
Um,
I get that.
yeah,
And you
exactly.
already ranked them from best to worst. I know that too.
Yeah, exactly. um, Man, that's a tough one. I really like the first song, "Fall
Yeah.
Out of Focus." I
Okay.
think that that one's definitely had the most buzz around it since the
Mm-hmm.
release. Uh, it just feels good. It just makes you feel good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Me personally,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, I really like "Spend the Night" just because
Mm.
it's so happy, but also so like it shreds on the
Uh-huh.
bass at that beginning part.
Ooh.
And so I think that that's just hilarious. I just think it's funny,
Mm-hmm.
and so that's why I like that song. But I also really like "The Parallel" just because, um, for me, that song lyrically means a lot to me as far as like growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and the Remy actually helped quite a bit with the composition of that one, and I think that the vibe of the sound really fits the concept of the lyrics, and so whenever I listen or play that song, I'm really feeling it, really, really
Mm-hmm.
feeling that song. So
Mm-hmm.
I would say those three are probably my favorite. But then also, like, feedback that we get from our fans and our listeners is they right now, I think their favorites are Fallout and then the two collab tracks. So we
Mm-hmm.
have track two is a collab track with Decent at Best called Hey, I Like Your Body. That one's really funny, really fun. Decent at Best, they're amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so we've gotten tons of positive feedback on that one, and also tons of positive feedback on our third track, which is with Modus. That song's about the conversation. Super cute,
Mm-hmm.
um, super cute song. And so those two songs, I would say we've had the most feedback
Mm-hmm.
from fans on. Uh, so yeah,
Okay, I mean that's
yeah,
awesome, and this is a
mhm,
perfect way to shine the light that your personal preference is not what the audience are gonna receive. I have
exactly.
songs that I'm just like, oh, this is the greatest song ever, and the audience like, but this one though, and I'm just like, that one, okay, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I'm cool with it, I love it, but that one,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. It's good to have the deep cuts though, because there's going to be some fan out there that's like
Yeah,
that one person who's like, "This song is my shit," and you're
yeah.
like, "Oh, no one ever listens to that song.
I
You're the
know.
only one."
Yeah, you get them. You get them with the first one, and you get them with the second one,
Hmm.
and then they're the ones that dive into the last one. They're like, why is this one the last one?
Yeah,
This one's the
exactly. Yeah,
greatest one.
exactly,
And that's the
exactly.
person you become best friends with. You're like, hey, come
Yeah,
hang out.
yeah, exactly. It's like you get me. You get me.
uh, that's so nice. So, what would you credit your mentality? Because it sounds like there's a lot of, I mean, you have a lot of understanding of life, growing up, balance, yin and yang kind of thing. You have a very great personality and very great outlook that you're trying to share with your community. What would you accredit to yourself getting to that point?
Oh, that's very nice of you to say. Thank you so much. Uh, you have a good personality too. Uh,
I mean, that's lovely. That's lovely. Thank you very much. But I want to know about you.
sure, sure. Um, Man, I don't know. It's really hard. It's hard to describe that. It's really uh like, you know, every single person I know, and I'm sure it's the same with you guys. Like when you get older, you start dealing with like your friends are going away for
Hmm.
whatever reason. And it doesn't really matter what reason it is.
Hmm.
It sucks. Um, whether it's something that is like there's no drama or even if there is drama, it doesn't really matter. It still kind of sucks.
Hmm.
And as you get older, especially in an environment that is so unique to really the history of humankind, growing up in an age of technology, like we're in uncharted territory. Everything is really bizarre.
Hmm.
And so as digital kids, a nickname of our generation, we're growing up with technology, the first wave of technology, so a lot of us still have memory of what it was like without it.
Hmm.
And now we're adults and we're seeing that, you know, like some forms of technology are causing mental illness,
Hmm.
some forms of technology are causing really outrageous social and public figures to become become powerful, and it's just really weird. But the fact is just like with every person who's ever lived,
Hmm.
you're gonna deal with stuff that's shitty, and you're gonna deal with stuff that's good. So what are you gonna do about that?
Hmm.
And that's really been something that I've been looking at for these last 5 years. Um, and now that I'm 27 years old, and I'm like, what am I fucking doing with my life?
Hmm.
Which is also another big thing about this project is a lot of people are like, I don't know what I'm doing with my life,
Hmm.
which is kind of one thing that the parallel is about, is like you don't need to know what you're doing with your life. All you need to have is a good attitude,
Hmm.
because no matter what happens is like shitty stuff is going to happen, like, and also good stuff is going to happen.
Hmm.
So when the shitty stuff happens, just remember good stuff's going to happen soon. But also when the good stuff happens, just remember shitty stuff is going to happen. Don't get a
Hmm.
fat head, don't
Hmm.
get, be humble, right? Be
Hmm.
thankful.
Hmm.
So it's like, I don't know how I would describe how I got to that point.
Hmm.
I guess it's just through the content that I consume that has helped me deal with those feelings on my own.
Hmm.
Uh, but yeah,
That's
I
wonderful.
don't know.
I mean, and I
Hopefully that's a good enough
support.
answer.
Well, anything you say is a good enough answer. Everything you say is a good enough answer.
I love it.
And to kind of piggyback on what you said, there's a Chinese proverb where we don't even know what is good or what is bad,
Hmm.
and it's talked about, there's a farmer and he's got a son, and his son got injured, and the neighbor's like, oh, that sucks, and then the next day the government comes, and then they're like, oh, we need a person to come to the army, and it's like, oh, but your son's injured, so they're like, oh, well, that's great, and he's like, all right. I skipped a whole bunch of steps because it's like there's a horse. Yeah, I know. I suck at retelling stories.
There's a horse. No, I love that.
A horse comes, and then there's like, cool, a horse, and then the horse hurts the son. Oh, sucks, and then the government and
Hmm.
all this stuff. So it's like we don't know what is good, we don't know what is bad. Just take things as they come, and
Hmm.
just appreciate them for whatever you can. Well,
Hmm.
whatever it may be, like
Hmm.
depression. I'm sure we all
Hmm.
deal with that. I love depression. Like, sure, it
Hmm.
sucks sometimes, but there's a benefit to it that you can sit around and just kind of dive deep into it. And a lot of music, a lot of art
Hmm.
comes from it. And then when it goes away, boom, you can go out and have fun with your friends and share that art that you created and just like, really just live. And then it'll come
Hmm.
back around, and you just live that cycle and just enjoy
Yeah.
everything that comes.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. There's pretty much every story that's ever lasted until this point in time is really there's like an underlying theme of A and B, yin and yang,
Mm-hmm.
good and evil, the duality of life,
Mm-hmm.
and really like with the new bit of that record, we wanted to, it really is packaged nice
Mm-hmm.
with that as its kind of,
Ooh.
concept. The soulful and then the alternative, the happy-go-lucky and then the kind of more like sad stuff. But it's okay to be sad. It's okay
Mm-hmm.
to, get through it. No matter what, it's going to be fine in the end. Um, yeah. So
It would be really
weird.
interesting if you could do like just like a white and black vinyl press. Just
That'd be
use
cool.
that would be really cool. That'd be
That'd be
really
really cool.
really cool.
We should that hopefully, yeah, I'll look into that.
Yeah.
Visit the pressing place we're going through does do colored
Mm-hmm.
um vinyl.
Yeah.
So
Because you can get trippy stuff going on. That's for sure. That's awesome. So where do you see yourself going with this? I mean, you have a very beautiful mentality that you want to share with people. Connect the world, connect your community. Give them love. Tell them, it's all okay. Everything's cool. Just like, just live in this moment. Where do you see yourself going? Beyond this. With Bit of Dat, with yourself, with your music, with your just art in general. And where do you want to end up?
that's a great question, and one reason I like that is because I kind of don't know.
Mm-hmm.
The whole tour getting canceled kind of threw a wrench in our plans for the year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Bit of that is always going to be a thing forever, like
Mm-hmm.
no matter what. Even if me, Kyle, and Remy end up moving to different cities, like Bit of that will always be a band, will always be touring.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I can speak on behalf of our whole team. That's this project is something that we really want to do for you know a long time. Uh, um, but as far as like what our plans are for the bit of that project, we wanted this tour to be like our launch into like, okay, we're going to establish ourselves as like a kind of a recurring touring band on the East and West Coast. So we were planning on doing an East Coast thing at the end of this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably not going to happen because we'll need to redo our West Coast
Mm-hmm.
endeavors. So we're going to see what happens. We all have our own personal plans. So right now things are somewhat uncertain as to when
Mm-hmm.
that's going to happen. But we will be at Tree Fort Music Festival in September.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be going through there, and it's extremely likely that we end up doing a mini run on the way. Uh, and we will still probably end up doing a West Coast, kind of like mimicking our last canceled tour sometime this year in 2020. And then probably in 2021, hopefully sooner,
Mm-hmm.
we'll do something on the east side
Mm-hmm.
of the states. Also, really want to do some mini runs. We've been talking with a couple local artists in the Pacific Northwest to do some mini runs on the Pacific Northwest specifically. That's all I'm going to share about that.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and so good things are looking for a bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we have new music
Mm-hmm.
also, so we're already working on new music right now. We've got about there's a few B-sides from previous records I want to release. There's a few B-sides from this record that we want to release,
Mm-hmm.
and those will either be released as singles or as their own project. We'll see. Really, really cool stuff. There's some stuff on there that is like some of my favorite that we've ever done.
Mm-hmm.
So really excited. As far as me personally, uh, I think I can speak for even just all three of us in the project. Music is our life, and it doesn't just stop a bit of that.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, you know, is has a really excellent ear for metal and progressive metal music. He has a metal project called Decimator that he's really trying to get off the ground this year. Remy plays in like 1,000 bands, and is an incredibly talented jazz drummer. And so he's trying to put himself in an environment where he can maximize his success.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so that's his plan.
Mm-hmm.
And I also I love bit of that, and I love writing for bit of that. But it's not the only music I love to make. So I'm also working on a solo project too, actually,
Mm-hmm.
and so we'll see. We'll see what
Mm-hmm.
happens. I'm working on an indie, kind of like an indie folk thing, and then
Mm.
I'm also
Mm.
working on like an indie pop, kind of like pop soul
Uh-huh.
indie kind of weirdness,
Uh-huh.
kind of like in the same vein as like kind of like solo performance, kind of like FKJ type thing is the concept.
Mm-hmm.
So like live looping and
Mm-hmm.
and DJing while playing and singing.
Mm-hmm.
I actually just finished the first song this weekend.
Nice. Very
So
nice.
yeah,
Awesome.
well now I just have to figure out a name for the project. We'll see.
Look, we can talk. We can talk and figure something
Yeah,
out
we
Tat
can
for it.
talk.
Tatabid.
Tatabid.
Tad a bit,
Do
yeah,
it backwards.
backwards.
That's funny.
Yeah, I love that.
That's funny. So you obviously have a lot of, I mean, talent. You have a lot of stories, and you've lived a very musical life. So if you could share some, I don't know, some pointers, some tips for the next generation of musicians of how to, I don't know, how to maybe be true to yourself, how to create the music that you love, how to create a band, how to just even manage this thing that we're doing in music. It's still
Hmm.
very ambiguous, whatever we're
Hmm.
doing. So how does the next generation kind of follow their heart in that way and find themselves successful, whatever that means to you?
Mm. I love that question, especially when you're talking about music or really anything artistic, because there is a question that I often battle with on my own,
Mm-hmm.
and that is, am I really giving enough value back to my community by being an artist?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm sitting at home right now. I'm not at the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not in the National Guard. I'm not in the military. I'm not a hero. I'm just sitting in my bedroom in my fucking pajamas doing bleep bloops on my computer. Um, so when, like to me, I battle a lot with like, is this really worth doing? Am I really like providing value to my community by writing music? Um, and and I think that that's one thing that the youth will need to understand. Like once you get older, you're gonna be confronted with this.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to be confronted with like, do I continue down this path, or to exaggerate the point I'm trying to make, do I do something useful with my life?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's just me, that's just what I think about,
Mm-hmm.
but I know deep down, and what I would tell any person is that art and music makes the world go round.
Mm-hmm.
Like, learn music. You will be happier. You will
Mm-hmm.
be a happier person, regardless of whether you want to make it, a career. It doesn't really matter, because really what matters is your relationship with music.
Mm-hmm.
And really, like, again, like as I was saying before, music really is about community. It's about sharing. It's about bringing people together. It's about dancing. And like in my opinion, there's nothing more noble than that. So yeah, go
Mm-hmm.
for it, do it. But uh, nothing comes without its hardships.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna have mental struggles. It will always be ambiguous. It will
Mm-hmm.
never. The music industry will never not be ambiguous. So prepare yourself for that. And also, um, you have to be disciplined. If and something, and really this goes for any art. Um, there's always going to be someone better than you. I know it's super cliche, but today, because of technology, there's going to be thousands of people better than you. If you really want to be good at art, you have to be the best. If you want to become extremely, let's just talk about the extremes. If you want to be extremely successful at your artistic endeavor, you have to live and breathe that. Um, and that's only if you want to be the best. And maybe you don't want to be the best, and that's fine. You just want to learn it and you want to have it for yourself. And I
Mm-hmm.
totally respect that. I think everyone should do that, really. People should do music without a desire to wanting to be the best, without a desire to wanting some sort of financial return on it,
Mm-hmm.
without, wanting some sort of like notoriety from their community from it. I
Mm-hmm.
really think everyone should do that because it make their lives better.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to make a career out of your art, you have to obsess over it.
Mm-hmm.
The people that are the best at their art are so insanely talented. Like they every single day rehearse. They every single day do something else that is not their instrument, not their craft. Like they're doing hundreds of different things at once. They also surround themselves with teams, right? If you want to be the best, if you want to be successful with your art, you need to have a network and you need to have a team that is lifting you up as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say to the youth, don't invest on anything until you watch a YouTube tutorial because that will show you. I mean it. I
Mm-hmm.
really do mean it. Like, don't go to school yet. Don't pick that instrument. Don't pick this aspect of the industry. Whether you want to do promotion or whether you want to do even lights for music.
Mm-hmm.
That's a big thing right now too. Like, uh, watch the YouTube tutorial first. Spend some time doing it yourself to find out if it's something that you're really passionate about, to find out if it's something that's like, okay, yeah, I can go through the guilt of not doing something that will save a life,
Mm-hmm.
you know. I mean literally,
Mm-hmm.
music can save lives, but I mean literally, like for example being a surgeon or some
Mm-hmm.
shit. I can deal with that guilt. I can deal with the lack of money for like the first 5 years of my musical career. I can deal with that because I'm so passionate and I'm so obsessed, and really that's what it's all about. Is it's about being obsessed. I'm so obsessed with this that it doesn't matter. And my obsession will lead me to success in the end, regardless.
Mm-hmm.
Like, start out with the YouTube tutorial,
Mm-hmm.
find out if that's really what you want to do. And the best part about it is, like, you can change your mind whenever you want. Nothing is, permanent.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, if you go down the music rabbit hole and you're like, this isn't for me, but hey, I know how to play trumpet really well,
Mm-hmm.
then you're all the better for it.
Mm-hmm.
You're all the better for it. So I guess that's it.
Wow.
Watch YouTube tutorial, kids.
Uh, what a golden answer. Honestly, what
That's
a
awesome. I
golden
love
answer.
that. Yeah.
Uh, wow. Dan, do you have anything to add?
Just that art is definitely valuable. I
Yeah,
know exactly what
absolutely.
you mean. I know exactly what you mean. You're not doing something,
Hmm.
yeah, you're not, especially in coronavirus times, you're not out there like literally hands in a body saving someone's life.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Hmm.
and I go through that too, right? With dance
Hmm.
tunes, like I'm always like, oh, like, is this valuable? Like, what am I actually doing?
Hmm.
And you just got to pick yourself up and be like, you know what? Yes,
This
like, would not even be getting through this quarantine without this music community right now. So,
Absolutely. I'm totally on that same page as
Mm-hmm.
well. And like, how many times have you guys listened to a song or gone and seen a performance, and the next day or as soon as you're done listening to it, you're just like, ah, I needed that. I
Mm-hmm.
needed that.
yep.
That's why it really bothers me when artists become jaded and disrespect their fans
Mm-hmm.
at performances. There's
Yeah.
this one band I went and saw. I never will go to the show again because a fan was shouting out at one of the musicians, and the musician like came up and started just being like, "You're yelling my name! You're yelling my name! You really think that I'm gonna want to come and talk to you if you're just screaming my name like that?" And I was just like, "Oh,
Gross.
dude, you don't know what your music means to this person.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
this is your customer for one, and if you're in the industry for long enough, you realize that it's like not only are they your fans, and there's definitely more of a connection with a fan than you would a customer in any other business. But
Mm-hmm.
really, that's your customer. Don't lose a customer, you idiot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this
Yeah.
is your business. But also, like, dude, your music could have saved this person's life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I know, and I know I'm not speaking only for myself here, but
Mm-hmm.
there are some songs that, like, in some instances, like, take us out of dark places,
Mhm.
bring us back into happiness, snap back to reality. You know what I'm
Whoop, there goes
saying?
gravity.
Oh, there goes
There it
rabbit.
Yeah.
goes. There it
Heck
goes.
yeah.
Ah, nailed it. You know. So when you,
Michigan.
yeah,
Michigan.
exactly. What up? What up? Oh, nice. Yeah, but I mean, like, you the song that could have potentially taken that person out of, like, a, in some cases, a life-threatening funk,
Mhm.
like, you're just gonna totally discredit the genuinity of that art
Mhm.
and crush this fan, like, really hurt them, you
Mhm.
know. And I don't put up with that shit. And
Mhm.
I'll never treat anyone that way, like, and I've seen that more than once. I've seen that a lot at other shows, and
Sad.
even with artists that, like, are uh just, why are you doing this? Like,
Mhm.
you're not even a big deal.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, just some people just, they're not humble, you
Mhm.
know. Um and they need to be reminded about the music that they listen to that saved them.
Mhm.
But really, like, I getting back to your point, Dan, like, music does matter.
Mhm.
Music does matter, and as an artist, we owe it to our fans and to our customers to, show them respect,
Mhm.
especially at shows.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After your release show, I mean the whole thing was fantastic. You guys were
Yay.
fantastic. Modus was fantastic. Hoshin was fantastic. And I left and I literally, like, I looked at the person I came there with and I was like, this is the only time I feel alive. Like listening in
Yay!
this room to this music with these musicians who are so humble and so um, you know, take such care in this work. And it was fantastic. That I don't have better
Oh,
words than that. Um,
oh, thank you
so
so much.
yeah,
That means a lot. Yeah,
that's it.
we're so, thank you so much. Really, that means a lot, because that really is our goal. So the validation there is, mwah,
Mhm.
makes me feel really good. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And really, that's what it's all about. It's about making the people who come to the shows feel good.
Mhm.
right,
That is our goal.
right.
Um, and, at the performance, we dedicated a song to the audience because it was written about the audience. I
Mhm.
wrote a song, um, really just talking about, because every single show, every single time we have a show, we have people come and like, "Oh my God, you guys are amazing! I had no idea." Because, you invite people like, "Hey, you should really come. It'll be a good
Mhm.
time." But then every single time I talk to someone, they say, "Oh my God, your fans, the people here, they're so nice. They're so loving. They're so accepting. Like, I feel so good just being in this room with these
Mhm.
people. Like, the positivity just, like, rubs off." And I'm so thankful for that, because really, like, that's an environment that,
Mhm.
like, I just can't say thank you enough.
Mhm.
It gets me all emotional,
Mhm.
because I love our community, and I love our fans, and I love my friends, and I love everyone who comes out to a bit of that show. I really do. So does Kyle. So does Remy. But really, it's like, it's such a beautiful thing for a bunch of people to get together in a room, forget about their differences, and just
Mhm.
get their boogie on. I know
Mhm.
it sounds silly, but really,
Yeah.
it's like, especially right now, maybe not right now because social distancing, but, in a polarized world right now, we live in a world of outrage. That's what Outrageous is about.
Mhm.
Like, we live in a polarized world, black and white, yin and yang, more than it ever has been. Maybe not ever, but, like, it's important to just bring people together
Mhm.
for no other reason than just bringing people together.
Mhm.
You don't need a reason for that, and uh, to see that manifest itself in our audience it's moving.
I think that's because you guys also project that.
Mhm.
Like you're right. Like your shows are just about having fun, and a lot of your music's about having fun, and we totally need that. And I mean, I love this Seattle scene, but a lot of it is very sadcore. So you go
Hmm.
to a show and you're like, this is awesome music, but I feel some things now. It's so I always love going to your guys' shows because it is very, like, you guys are like, you know what, fuck it, we're gonna have a good time. Like, we've been playing this music since, for years together. We're all friends. Like, you guys are all our friends, and we're gonna do that.
Mhm.
So it's
Absolutely.
yeah, it's a fun dance between you guys, for lack of a better phrase, I guess. Between you guys
Hmm.
and the audience. Yeah.
Well, thank you. That's awesome. I love that. Thank you so much.
Mm.
Ah!
Mm.
Ah!
Mm. Ah.
I just want to do it again. I just want to do it again.
Then do it, man.
We'll get through
Getting
quarantine.
all
We'll get
pumped.
through.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
We'll get
We'll get
through.
through it.
Mm.
Yeah,
And we will.
we should do. Maybe we'll do a little house party show.
Definitely.
It'd be fun.
House
Yeah.
parties are the next big thing, honestly, and it's the most awesome thing. I know I'll be planning something in my property for summer or maybe even a little bit before that.
Nice.
I'm gonna definitely.
What neighborhood are you in?
Kent. I'm
Okay.
Yeah, we got a couple acres here, so like I had a.
Oh shit.
Yeah, I had a nice festival last summer, and had
Cool.
like a whole day of just musicians coming in through. It was amazing. So
Do you have a generator?
yeah, we have a generator. We don't need it. I mean, I got enough. I got plenty of things, but we do have a generator.
Hell yeah.
And, but I'll keep you in the loop because I think you would be awesome to add
fun.
to that. Oh yeah, it's gonna be fucking fun. Oh,
Yeah.
it was the time of my life on this last summer. Just the time of my life. The same thing you were saying. Just people bringing together love,
Yeah.
food, music, dance, karaoke at the end of the night. And man, I was high. I was so high. I felt like I was glowing. Volleyball, ping pong, just everything, everything.
Sounds beautiful.
I'm drooling.
Yeah,
right
count
now.
me in, man. I feel you, man.
Yeah.
I'm leaking out of every hole.
Every orifice.
Every-
Well, I mean, we should take care of that, but
That's all right. I don't have to see anybody in real life, so I'm not even gonna clean it up.
if I can be truthful, I didn't brush my teeth yesterday all day.
No.
Not even once.
I went a full 7 days without showering.
Damn, that's impressive.
Nice.
I wanted to see how long I could go before it got to a point where Kyle is also my roommate. Kyle's our bass player. He's also my roommate. Before I was like, I was like, hey man, you let me know when I'm starting to stink, and then I'll shower. But you let me know. He's like, oh no, you're fine now. You're fine now. And then finally on Friday, he's like, all right, man, I'm getting a little cumin. I'm getting a little taco seasoning.
Oh, that's too funny.
I'm just like, all right, man. First thing in the morning, I got you, dude. I got you. So,
Best. Yeah.
I'm
We should give props to Kyle.
Kyle
and
putting
Remy
up for that.
for being just fantastic bandmates and yes, putting up with your smell.
Absolutely, and it's not just on quarantine. No, I'm just kidding.
It's everyday life.
I'm very clean otherwise. But it's an opportunity. I wanted to see how far I could take it.
That's
And
awesome.
when will I have this chance again?
It's
Heck
true.
yeah.
It's true. So, Cameron, any final words that you want to leave our audience, your audience, with before we set off to the rest of our lives?
The rest of our lives, what are you guys doing? I'm sitting in this chair.
I gotta go paint some things. That's it.
That sounds like fun.
Oh, it's gonna be blast.
Right. No, I just want to say thank you to Dan Ray, Dan's Tunes. Check out the blog. Thank you to Almighty Psych Andrew. I don't know if you have a website, but check out his tunes. Is Almighty Psych your alias for music?
So Andre Psyche is what I go by. That's my
Andre
alias.
Psyche.
Almighty Psyche
Got it.
is my freelance business that has my art, my music, whatever else I do.
Gotcha.
Too much stuff.
Gotcha.
But yeah,
How many Instagram accounts now?
I
9?
have like 9 Instagram accounts to separate things
Well,
out.
Well, there you go. We'll pick one of them. Pick one of them, and to the audience, pick one of Andrew's junks and go sniff it out. And then, if you want to feel good, if you want to be happy, and if you want to reflect and have a little in-home dance party, check out the new Bit of Dat album. It's called Bit of Dat. You can listen to it on Spotify, Apple Music, SoundCloud. You can download it on our website, bitofdat.com. If you want a super soft kitty cat t-shirt, check out our online store at bitofdat.com. If anything Bit of Dat as far as like our story, our future and upcoming shows, check out bitofdat.com. And if you just want to say hi, send us a message on Instagram. We reply to all of our messages. So if you want to come say hello, please do. We'd love to hear from you.
Cameron, this has been a golden conversation. So much value, so much beauty. Like, honestly, thank you so much for doing this. I'm sure, hopefully, eventually we'll be able to talk to Kyle as well as Rennie. That would be awesome to include, just different perspectives from your band. I think that would be beautiful. But
Absolutely.
we'll cross that bridge when we get there.
Definitely.
And Dan, any final words from you before we go?
I think we're good. Thanks everybody for doing this quarantine podcast.
Woo!
Fantastic.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Had a lot of fun.
We'll make sure to add all the important links on the bottom. Make sure to check those out. And other than that, this has been Unwritten with Almighty Psyche, well, with Andre Psyche and Dan Ray and Cameron from Bidadat. Thank you for tuning in. All right.
Thank you. Bye bye. Bye bye.
Okay. And it's off. Boom, boom. All right. Everything stopped.
Okay.
That was fun.
Live streaming's done.
Yep. Live streaming's done. Ah, that was so good. What a
Yeah,
God.
thank you so much, Cam. That was awesome.
I had a great time. That was a lot of fun.
Oh, man. Yeah, the light was good on you, too. You're sitting there, you're talking about light and dark, and you have this extreme light.
Right
Yeah,
down the...
it's so beautiful. I'm just looking at this. You're the embodiment of your art right now. Like, everything you're saying was just really leaking your message. It was so good.
Oh, I'm leaking all right. That's for sure.
I think we
I've
all
got my
feel like our
corn.
brains are leaking right now.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's so funny. Kyle and I, like... We'll just like walk through the house and shriek, like scream as loud as we can, just just trying to stay sane. It's a lot of fun. I highly recommend it. If you guys don't have roommates, or if you have roommates that are in on it, like, you know, and you guys are up and asleep at the same time, you know, just ask permission and just shriek and just make random noise. It feels amazing. It feels
Dig it.
amazing. Yeah.
Dig it. My cats will be like, "The fuck you doing, Dan?"
Yeah.
Yeah. The cats probably are not down. Oh, shit. That's awesome. How many cats do you have?
I got 2.
Okay.
Yeah, one here. Well, let me see if I can. Martin, you want to
I
come
saw
say hi?
I saw one of the black ones. The little black
Yeah,
kitty cat.
so I got a little gray kitty cat. She's her name's Macaulay Culkin because she's home alone a lot.
That is awesome.
She's very much a cat, and then I have another like really big. He's got to weigh like 25 pounds. He's giant. And he's like, you don't think Martin weighs 25 pounds?
No,
I think Martin weighs 25
my cat's
pounds.
a fat butt, and she's 17 pounds. I just put her on a diet. Your cat may be 17 pounds too. He's not.
My
25.
cat is bigger than your cat.
No, okay. My cat's gotten bigger, but no, Martin is not 25 pounds.
Well, he's like, we think he's Maine Coon and Ragdoll, so he's giant
He's
and like
so
very
cool.
limp.
He's so cool. He's the greatest cat ever. You sit there, you pet him for days, literal days, and he's like, more.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
very
awesome.
Real.
I love
Yeah,
him so
he's a
much.
good one.
I
Yeah.
love your studio, Cameron. I do.
Hey, thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's in the it's kind of a weird shape, but you know,
Yeah,
whatever.
Better to bounce than sounds with. You know, you got a nice.
Yeah.
You got your cotton boards or whatever they're called, and
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's fun. I have a nice little window up here. This is where we tracked the whole new album. Actually, well, not the whole new
Sweet.
album. We did vocals, bass, and guitar up here,
Mhm.
but drums were
Okay.
at Whiny Cat Audio and Shoreline. So
Oh,
yeah,
that's
fun
perfect.
stuff.
That's
That was a
perfect.
lot of fun, guys. I really
was.
enjoyed that. So
Me
so
too.
how can we? Well, first of all, I'm curious. How many viewers did we have?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was gonna ask you that too, Andre.
Oh.
You gotta check because it's
Oh.
on yours.
Fine, I guess I'll look.
I'll look.
Let's see.
I'm just curious. I'm not expecting a whole lot. I'm just
Facebook.
curious.
It's a good question. I mean, this is the kind of information we thrive off as marketers, as musicians. We need
Yeah,
to know
for
this
sure.
so you're actually reaching people. Let's see. Let's go to my page, and then Twitter. My Twitter. I just started that, so I mean, probably like maybe 3 people there, most definitely, to check
Nice.
that. YouTube, maybe a couple people too. Let's see. And let's see Facebook.
Oh, my dad was watching. Oh my
Nice.
Heck
goodness.
yeah, Mr. Brownell.
Mr. Brownell.
That's funny. Nice. Ariel Vivo. Who's Ariel Vivo? And Dan the Woman. Let's see.
Wait, do I just click on the link? How do I?
Oh, I think we're still streaming, no?
No, we're not streaming anymore. It's just replaying it now. It's available for. Are you sure you want to stop the